just updating some housekeeping from earlier. We've just got word through that Chaz Mostert has been fined $2,000 with $1,000 suspended for his role in that contact at the Bentley elbow. So race officials have made their judgment call on that. So $2,000, $1,000 of that suspended for his role in this incident, which has shaped the outcome of the motor race because it removed 2 key contenders.
Well, 3 really, because himself and the...
Oh, the Bentley, the Craft Bamboo car's still involved.
Yeah, true, yeah, they got through, correct. Yep. Correct. No point in penalising the 43 because it hasn't continued, sitting down in 33rd position. And I think that's, again, sensible officiating here, and it's, again, send a message to everybody else on the track.
All right, who would you rather be? 37, 75 or 991? The car's in first, second and third. Who would you rather be right now?
Out of those 3, Earl Bamber, 991, out of those 3. But you didn't go down far enough to ask me which one I would like to be out of the top 6.
No, I didn't. Don't want to give you
did that on purpose, didn't you?
I did.
I really want to be Romain Dumas or Matty Campbell.
Yeah, they, to me, in the best positions. Although in lap times for Robin Frijns are now starting to get elongated a little bit.
Traffic.
You think?
Yeah.
2:06 is.
Yeah, I do.
Losing 2 or 3 seconds a lap at the moment.
Alex Davison just pounded an ice break. You can't possibly need some sort of energy boost at this point. Are you guys feeling confident with the number 12?
Confident's the wrong word. We're chewing our fingernails and we're 2 laps better off than the 4 cars in front of us. So I'd hate to think how nervous they are on fuel at the moment. It's going to come down to the wire, it looks like.
For your position, though, you're also going for the Pro-Am class win, where there is a BRM watch for stake. How important is it to just get in front of the 540, let alone the overall win?
Yeah, well, obviously we're all battling for the best Porsche award today, and Marky Lieb's a good mate of Pat's and mine as well. So, yeah, absolutely, we want to get in front of those guys. But we're looking at the outright result. We want to get as good an outright result as we can, and second priority is probably Pro-Am award. That's how I look at it. I don't know if the other guys are looking at it the same way, but Matty's doing a great job. He's hauling in Mark at the moment. It's down to 2.5 seconds, so they're about to have a good battle, and we're hoping Mark's going to be gentle on us.
Can't wait to watch it. Good luck.
Thanks.
They know they're cutting it fine down here in terms of the Mercedes. They say they'd rather stop in the track than stop in here for some more fuel, so it's going to be extremely tight.
Really? The driver behind the wheel of that car knows about that as well. In Bathurst history, last lap times, the leader did a 2:06.71, a 5.7 for Jamie Whincup, and 8.1 for Earl Bamber. So Earl is on the full cruise and coast mode. 8.5 for Mark Lieb. Matt Campbell pulled 2.2 seconds out of the Black Swan Porsche. He is hustling. He's been routinely the fastest guy on the racetrack and punching out mid to high 205s.
208 last time around for Romain Dumas, the next man back, and we know he can definitely go at the end. But again, I believe that's traffic. And remember, Dumas did not take new Pirellis when he got in that car some 9 laps ago. He inherited the tyres from the previous driver, Johnny.
Yes, he did. So the Jamie Whincup Sun Energy 1 car hammering its way down Conrod Straight. There's now only 3 seconds between Robin Frijns and Jamie Whincup. That's starting to stabilise a little bit. Bearing in mind the gap behind Jamie to Earl Bamber continues to grow, the Kiwi on fuel save mode.
I thought we'd close the book on exactly what happened to the objective McLaren with Warren Luff. Luffy, can you update us as to what was the cause of you not being able to get back out there?
Yeah, look, the starter motors packed it in when I got in the car. We had trouble starting it. We're able to rock it and sort of got it going again. But then when we came in for that last splash of fuel, it just didn't want to fire. So it's a cruel end of the day to get so deep into the race. But look, a full credit to all the guys at McElroy Racing here and Objective Racing that have worked so hard to give us such a great car all day. It was just disappointing not to be able to give them the result they deserved.
It's probably cost you your chance at a beautiful BRM watch in the Pro-Am class. But the good news is it'll probably go to your teammate now at McElroy.
Yeah, look, it's great. We'll be there to support our teammates. Great to see Matty sort of hopefully get up there and stand up on the podium again. So, yeah, I suppose there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Thanks, Luffy.
Thanks, mate.
It's been an up and down day for them. Rolled the dice early on. and didn't necessarily work for them. Got back into a position, and then the machinery has cried enough. The McLaren charge has come to an end there, and we're left at the front of the field with the German marks. Number crunching going on. The £10 lump hammer, lots of gaffer tape, and now a smartphone as well, because you need all of those things to run endurance racing. You need the little light in the phone to shine up underneath when you need to find out what to hit with the hammer, and you can use it as a calculator as well to work out your fuel flow.
The Winter Olympics are coming up on the screens of 7 in the coming weeks. I wonder if today we might use that Aussie vernacular, doing a Bradbury. I wonder if someone will come from the stars to win this. It feels a bit like that at the moment. In this really awkward situation where everyone's trying to get home, but we're not sure if they can actually do it.
Well, I'm just going to add into the mix here, because I've been watching times outside the top 6 of Lewis Williamson. I'm not sure, with 90 seconds between him and the leader, that he can make the top step of the podium, but he's gradually closing in on Romain Dumas. 205s and 204s for the 55 car, and in traffic it would appear that the Straka Mercedes-AMG GT3 is a little bit sharper than the Porsches ahead of him.
Earl was out of the throttle before the kick at the chase.
Yeah,
that's how much he's saving fuel at the moment, coasting his way around Mount Panorama.
Porsche here are playing the factory game, aren't they? This is old school from Porsche. This is how they've won 19 Le Mans 24-hour races and a bajillion 24-hour races around the world. They're getting their teams together, and Frank Stefan Walliser will be the man down there who's visiting all of them. Black Swan Racing has Mark Lee. Mechanical sympathy, certainly from that driver, who's a highly qualified engineer. That's 4th place. I think he's catching the car ahead.
He's definitely catching him. Campbell's still flying. He's the fastest guy on the racetrack at the moment. He's still in the 4s. I don't think they're worrying about whether they can get to the end or not. He's just been given a mission to go for it. If it runs out, so be it. But if it runs out and they're in front of the Black Swan Racing car and that runs out as well, well, it's probably better. I don't know how, actually. I don't even know if that makes sense. Remember, they're fighting over the BRM Watchers Pro-Am trophy to get one of those amazing, one of 6 only BRM chronographs.
5 because Chad got one, don't forget. That's not gone back, has it?
He's got a lot this week. He did. Riding an AMG with Pete Hackett. Watch. Go on the simulator, which is probably the best of the lot. Campbell can win this race.
Yeah.
I remain fixed to that. At the very least, they can definitely be on the podium for this one.
22 laps, so we're getting towards 22 minutes rather, 10 or 11 laps to go around here. The countdown is on at the mountain, and we'll take you all the way through to the checkered flag, and the winner of the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours will have earned this one. A race of attrition, a race of drama, controversy, incident and accident, and it's coming down to fuel mileage. This is endurance racing at Bathurst.
Robin Fry's doing a 2:08 on lap 271. They're trying to stretch it so that this race will be 281 laps in total rather than 282, but I'm still not sure that makes much of a difference for the leading Audi R8.
It might help the guys behind them, of course, because I'm still not convinced that 37 car can go another 10 laps. That would make it a 41 laps. Even if it's only 9 laps, 8 laps, that would be 39, 38 laps, and we haven't seen an Audi do that in green flag all day.
Well, if that car wins this race, it'll do a Captain Kirk and boldly go where no Audi's gone before, because they just haven't had that economy all day. So just to reiterate, we're not convinced that anyone in the top 4 can make it home, and there's still a question mark and some biting of nails going on. The car in 5th place, there's a safety car.
That's it, the 69 Superpod. Audi has gone around Ash Waltz, and there's a Merc up there as well, Mercedes-AMG GT3
and the last car, I think, up against the wall.
That's an enormous accident.
Full course yellow. Now all bets are off. All bets are off. And down at Audi, they're getting ready for a car potentially to come in.
Say it again to the crew.
So they're just communicating with the driver of car 19. It's John Martin behind the wheel. There's a marked car there. So the driver moving around. Let's have a look. That's the WRT. Yeah, that's the leader going through, and Winkelhock goes through as well, and Crunch. Where does the Merc come in? Comes in afterwards.
Wait.
Oh, wow, that was close.
Just wait. The Merc's going to nail the door.
Oh, no.
Straight in. That is, fortunately, a left-hand drive car, so the driver on the far side from the secondary impact. Two cars losing it almost in synchronization at the top of the mountain. The Mark V8 and the Superbarn Audi, and then the agonizing hit. Oh, that's a bad noise. That's a bad noise.
Wow. That's the safety car that Audi Sport WRT wanted, though.
It's John Martin in the 19 Mercedes that came in
Nowhere
laterally. Well, indeed. I mean, he got the nose of the Mercedes out of the way, but they're already into a lurid slide. See drivers out of the car, which is a good sign. But 3 cars involved, and the crew's concentrating obviously on the drivers first of all, then we'll look to clear up. But 18.5 minutes to go, and it's really tricky for anyone to pick their way through the shards of carbon fibre and other bodywork.
Yeah, danger of picking up a puncture through that as well. 18 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
I was standing down behind the Craft Bamboo team when that all unfolded, and they actually sent one of their mechanics to go speak to the Mark team, knowing that they were going to be caught behind them chasing the safety car. So they just wanted to make sure that they didn't lose too much time. But I hate to be the guy to say it, but I feel like this might just finish behind safety car.
This is not going to be the work of a moment in terms of clearing up 3 cars and making safe extrications for all the drivers. Robin Fringe. Now, the question is, has Fringe even got enough to go to the end under safety car, if that should be the case? I think now the Porsches, Crailsey, are all good with a little bit of yellow, with the amount of yellow that we're going to get, let's be honest.
Well, it'll condense the field. If and when we go green, it will condense everyone up. And out of those cars, I think Jamie Winkelhock might be the fastest. Being in second place, I reckon he's quicker than that Audi.
Yeah.
On raw speed.
Hey, there's a win at stake, and Jamie's going to leave nothing out there on the track.
Well, it's funny you guys mentioned, can this car make it under safety car? Because the first thing that happened when that yellow came out and the safety car board was called for, the fueler went over and picked up the nozzle as if the car was going to be coming in, and then somebody waved him off. So I'm pretty sure that even if he can't make it to the end, they're not going to bring him in.
In the Audi pit, Chris Renke, crunching numbers in the red Audi Sport hat, is the man at the top of Audi Sport Customer Racing. We've got the big guns here, not just in teams and drivers, but also in the management. Because Chris Renke's the top man at Audi Sport, Frank Stefan Walliser, the top man at the Porsche GT programme. So 2 cars spinning in unison at the top, just as Winkelhock had gone through there. And there's an agonising wait for the 69 as that Mercedes comes in and gives it a heck of a lick. Both drivers on the left-hand side of the car is surely a saving grace there.
Keith Kasulki next car through to pick his way through the debut. I'm still trying to work out which Mark car that was that made contact. I think it was possibly Zane Goddard.
In the 33.
They've had an awful day, Mark Cars Australia. They're going to win the Invitational class. Wow.
And I'm not liking that sound, guys.
Let's have a look at this.
So the 19, losing it on his own.
That's fairly telling.
So he lost it on his own.
Darrell Young on right of screen.
Yep.
JH, a double winner of this race with Audi back in the day. So they've been real contenders in the past, looking to win this race again.
Well, Scott Taylor joins me now. We've just been watching these scenes here. We talked about it, not what you want to happen, to see happen, but certainly what the car needed at the moment.
Yeah, sure. We're touch and go on fuel because of an issue with a wheel nut earlier on. So we weren't going to go for a splash and a dash because it'd take us out of kind of out of a podium. So we were going to run the gauntlet a little bit. It goes well into the swell pot, so that we get every last litre of fuel out of these cars, which is fantastic. Safety cars definitely helps us sort of. So it's all about conserving fuel, and we're still touch and go, to be honest, to get to the end. But we're going to give it a shot.
And I heard the message is going out to Jamie. Is it neutral or the clutch all the way down the hill?
Oh, just whatever we can do to preserve fuel in this car. So just all the typical things about, you know, we dare not turn the car off or whatever because I think that's too much risk or whatever. But we may put our foot on the clutch. We'll use high gears. We'll use whatever we want because we're going to go down to the last litre.
Can't wait. Extremely exciting stuff. Good luck, Scott.
Yeah, I didn't think they could go to the end. If they're worried about going to the end under yellow, there's not a chance they could have made it under full green. But that has changed the landscape.
It was Bryce Fullwood.
Yes, it was.
In that marked car that was stopped up there. Saw him jump out in the mid-ease suit.
It's the
Eastgate racer.
Eastgate engineering car.
So they were fourth in class.
And Gary Jacobson, second in that class, so close to
Heck of a miss.
hitting the side of the 69 car before John Martin arrived on the scene. And an incredible bit of driving because he also had a car immediately to his left as well.
Yeah.
Talk about threading the eye of the needle. But there was always going to be somebody coming through there, unsighted obviously through that blind left-hander.
The good news is that all of the drivers now are out of their cars, Krill.
So that's Ash Walsh was behind the wheel of the Superbarn Supermarkets car. They were cruising around nicely within contention for the top 10, which would have been a solid day's work. Ash had a big crash not long before the Bathurst 1000 last year, actually, in private testing at Phillip Island, and was pretty battered and bruised from that. So he'll be very, very tender after this one. If there is a positive...
Race suspended, guys.
Oh, wow.
Race suspended. This is history being made here in the 12 hours.
To stop on the grid. There will be no work allowed on the vehicles. I repeat, the race is going to be suspended. The safety car will stop the field on the grid. Thank you.
Wow.
So a race suspension. No working on the grid. Paul Morris straight away, who's generally onto these, going, I'm going to check the rules.
Yep.
So they will pull the cars onto the grid. They will stop. You would assume the clock will stop.
Yes, it is, correct.
And no teams can work on the cars
now, the
when
issue,
they stop on the grid.
The issue here for the guys at the front is they haven't pitted to fill the cars up with fuel or splash the fuel. And now they can't because it's what's called parc fermé.
All cars are to stop on the grid behind the safety car. There is to be no work attended to the vehicles. We will be very proactive on RMC channel to describe the restart.
So that's now the question on everybody's lips is how much fuel is still in those cars and how much running will we get, and will the clock start as they roll off the line? I think it will.
I'm just jumping onto race control to find out a bit more about the minutiae in this one.
Great news. All of the drivers have got out of the cars involved in this scary, scary incident at the top of the mountain.
There's Jacobson just sneaking through, but here comes John Martin, absolutely nowhere to go.
You're fully committed there.
Yeah.
There is one line, and the Superbarn Supermarkets car was right across it. Nothing that could be done. In real time from the wall, this is just scary. Just listen to the effects here. There's a whole long wait. Here comes John Martin now.
That's what 200 Ks into a stopped car sounds like. Real time. Wait for it.
Guys, that's a big hit and testament to the strength of the GT3 formula. Extraordinarily well held up, those cars, even after that big incident. You can't crash test a car for something like that. That's engineering at work.
The only silver lining about where that's happened is that it's right next to the John Hinksman Vista. So to remove cars, there's a massive car park just up there on driver's left. So they should be able to drag the cars out the way very quickly.
Clock is still running.
Up, but they haven't moved yet.
Clock is still running, and we're under 10 minutes. But the race has been suspended. Red flag.
There was a lengthy red flag, and just got a message from our good colleague Aaron Noonan about this. There was a lengthy red flag in 2010 when a tree fell across the track at Forest Elbow, but the race wasn't suspended. It was just run as a red flag. The clock kept ticking, so it didn't stop, and that is the race with the shortest ever distance in a Bathurst 12 hour at 202 laps. So there's precedent to that. I feel like they want to suspend the race because of the massive debris field up there, and they don't want cars running around it again and again. But we're yet to have clarification as to whether it means the clock stops or whether it just runs down.
Watch the clock when the safety car stops on the grid. I was explaining parc fermé. That's a French expression. Many of the regulations written in the French language, it means closed parking area, and it means that no one can go over the wall to touch those cars. You'll be allowed a driver assistant, and if they turn the engines off, which they will do, you'll be allowed assistance to restart the car, and that is all.
So, John, you've pretty much touched on it perfectly there, but I just want to absolutely clarify that point. So it's essentially like parc fermé right now. The cars have been stopped by the AMG safety car on the grid, and at the moment teams are not allowed to attend to those cars. So Aussie race fans might think back to the red flag that we had here in 2014 in the great race, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, and on that occasion the teams were allowed to work on the car, but right now no working on the car. So for those who need to make any adjustments or would like to add fuel, that's simply out of the order right now. And the clock, I can't see that clock right now, I'm sure our viewers can, but it is meant to stop as they stop on the grid.
8 minutes and counting as far as the clock's concerned, and there's some concerned faces down in all of the garages. Originally that would have been for the drivers. News filtering through quite clearly that all the drivers concerned have got out of the cars with a minimum of assistance. Now, the clock did pause for a moment, just over 8 minutes. It's now restarted and running again at 7 minutes and 31 seconds. And we still await something from race control.
So just hearing from Porsche before that red flag actually came out and we were still under safety car, they believe that the top 4 cars, and keep in mind, some of those are theirs as well, would not have made it under the normal conditions had we stayed green, and Matty Campbell would have come through to take the win because they did feel better on fuel than everyone else. Now with this situation, Audi still not 100%, Mercedes still not 100%, but there are 2 Porsches that are feeling pretty darn good.
Extraordinary circumstances. This is unprecedented, Crailsey, in the history of the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours. A race suspension with clock still running. Now, if that clock doesn't stop, we're going to end the race with the cars where they are.
And not an enormous amount of headway being made at the top, or they assess what is a war zone of debris up there. An amazing impact.
To be honest, Crailsey, even if they get the cars out the way, there's a lot of sweeping up to do, and there's a lot of shards of carbon fibre.
So that's middle of shot. He's sitting down with the headphones on, his James Taylor. Next to him, standing up, Laurie Schmidt and Steve Lisk there on the stewards panel for this weekend. So the CAMS race officials are going to work out how this works. So the clock continues to count at our end. We're chasing clarification as to whether that will stop or whether this race will be extended.
Crailsey, think back to 5:43 this morning. The first lap was behind the safety car at safety car speed, but it counted, and that was nearly 6 minutes. We are under that now. We are under that on the clock now. 19 car just going around, it just snapped away.
Well, he was bailing out. He was trying to avoid a parked Audi in the middle of his road. So he tried to flick the thing hard left, I should say, to get out of its way, and the rear end broke around. So, yeah, nothing Johnny Martin could do in that instance. It is just so unbelievably blind, and if you've never been round this place and you can avail yourself of the opportunity one day, the two things that most people say the first time they see it is, crikey, it's blind, and wow, it's steep.
It's narrow as well, had that in.
Yeah, and real fast. That's a 200 kilometre an hour bit of road. And that was a parked car being hit by a car doing probably 185 k's an hour.
No attempt being made at the moment to recover any of the cars. They are all in seriously damaged
Race control
conditions.
to all teams. Race control to all teams. The race has been declared. The race has been declared. The safety car will lead the field into Parc Ferme. We will require car 37 to proceed slowly to perform podium procedures. I repeat, race has been declared.
And Audi have won the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hours. The cheering that you could hear was from the WRT team. They hear it over race control radio. It's an odd way to hear about you winning a race. They've not seen the checkered flag. There'll be no more racing. And this is a unique set of circumstances here at the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hours.
I'll take a podium.
Wow. Third victory for Audi at Mount Panorama. Their last one was in 2012 with Phoenix Racing. They now tie Mazda as the most successful brand ever at Mount Panorama in 12-hour endurance races. They won 3 of them straight between 92 and 94. In the GT era, they are the most successful brand ever now. And on their first visit to the mountain, Audi Sport Team WRT win the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour, and they will add that trophy to their vast trophy cabinet that includes all of the major GT endurance races that the world has to offer.
This was the one that was missing for WRT. They get the opportunity, and they've come and done it. What a fantastic result. Under, I'm sure they will think, slightly unsatisfactory circumstances, but you've got to be in it to win it. And they were in the right place. No way they would have made the end. 75 car second and Porsche third.
We've just got the news. You've won the race. Obviously not necessarily the circumstances, but talk us through the emotion, the feeling just then in this garage.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's ecstatic. I mean, it's our first time here. It's one of the biggest races on the calendar. It's amazing.
Jace, what about you? The past 10, 15 minutes, really not knowing what's been going on at all.
No, I mean, I want to know how the guys are from it was a really big crash, so I hope they're okay, first of all. And then, yeah, second of all, it was a strange atmosphere in the box. You know, getting the red flag, all the cars had to stop on the start grid. But then, you know, eventually it's a win. Maybe it's not a win like crossing the line first after when the count's on 0, but anyway, it's a win. It's of course very good for WRT. I mean, it's their first time out here, and you know, I think they're showing that they are always good prepared, and yeah, I mean, they're always just prepared like hell. Yeah. I mean,
Tell us, how did it live up to the expectations for the first time for the team here? It's a brutal race, huh? A brutal race. Right.
Yeah, it was tough, you know, rocking up your first time. The walls are so close. It's so easy to make a little mistake into a huge, you know, weekend over. But we kept it really clean the whole race and out of the wall, and tried to keep it out of trouble, and then pushed at the end. So yeah.
We'll let you go and celebrate the win. Congratulations.
Big congrats as well to Robin, because Robin did 2 hell out of the last 2 stints were amazing. So we're gonna see him.
Good luck. Go and give him a pat on the back. Well done, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well, for Kenny Habul, it was a welcome return to the mountain. You don't quite make it to the top step, but you still got to that second one. Does it only make you want to come back next year?
Oh, I just love this place. It was 20 years ago since I was here, and
What an amazing job, thanks to Mercedes-AMG. I tell you what, I was as nervous as a butcher's thumb there at the end because that was a big hit. And I'm glad the guy's okay. Everybody was more worried about that than anything else. But, mate, thank you to everybody here at Scott Taylor Motorsport and my teammates. Jamie drove well, Tristan and Raphael. And, you know, I grew up watching this when I was a kid. I was here in '87 watching Brock win in the number 10. I was 14 years old and I was cleaning the wheels. And I remember looking up at the podium when he was there and thinking, gee, that'd be amazing one day if I could do that. So it's come full circle. It's a big day for me.
Tristan, your first time to the mountain, did you think a podium was achievable?
Well, I think we would have taken it. You know, there's a bit of a feeling we were so close to the win that, you know, there's a bit like we really wanted it. But if somebody told us before the weekend you're going to get second, we would have signed straight away. And knowing how much this race means to Kenny, as he said, he grew up here watching Peter Brock sideways down the hill. It's very important for us. What we did today was our first time here. Lelo as well, Raffaele, Kenny and myself, our first time here, and we all did great, got up to speed quickly and ran a strong race. Of course we wanted to win, but what a result, thanks to Mercedes. The AMG was great on tires. We were good on degradation, not the fastest over one lap, but we were good over a stint, and that's what got us to the podium.
Congrats to you both.
Thank you.
It's an Audi win, gentlemen. Congratulations. Well done. Your first time here driving. What a way to kick it off.
Yeah, last year we didn't have the luck on our side. After 10 minutes we crashed. Very unfortunate, but we came back strong. During the race we had some problems. The first 3 hours or 4 hours we didn't have the radio, so we were struggling to box at the right point. So. But yeah, the last couple of hours, last stint especially, with fuel saving, a lot of fuel saving, and I think Jamie was doing the same thing. And tried to keep the gap as well, so it was quite tough, but eventually we kept it together and we won.
A grueling, exhausting day. How hard was it out there in the car?
It was pretty tough. I mean, there was a lot of traffic. To keep the car in one piece it's one thing, but you know, to drive at front is another, of course. But yeah, I'm just so happy for that we made it. We had a lot of issues during qualify and free practices. We didn't have a clean run throughout the whole weekend actually, and except the race. That's the most important.
What did you make of that mountain? How tough was that?
It is really tricky. Like one mistake and your race is done. So you have to be awake all the time, 12 hours long. But yeah, we did it all together. Dries for the first time here. Very young, but we won it all.
Congratulations, a major achievement by the team, boys. Time to celebrate, enjoy, and congratulations.
What a remarkable turn of events to conclude the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour. Johnny Palmer and Richard Crowe with you for the race debrief. And a certain amount of irony in that an Audi crashing at the top of the mountain has helped an Audi get home on the fuel that they had. What a day. Where
Incredible.
do we start?
Yeah, absolutely right, Crailsy. Wind the clock back 12 hours and we had a start in the darkness for the 2018 running of the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours. Two Mercedes colliding at the top of the hill and then a big off for the KTM and David Crampton. That's KTM Crossbow looking very, very second-hand after an incident at the Bentley elbow. This has been an action-packed area to be spectating. Andrew Bagnall rushed to hospital after a collision in the number 82 Audi. We understand he's okay and with his family as the recovery starts. Big hit there for the 44 BMW as well, losing its front right wheel. Driver badly winded, but otherwise okay. And the Audi off big style at the first corner, Porsche corner as it's called this weekend. The Daytona Sports Cars machine losing a wheel as well, and a couple of moments for Porsches, including the 23. This a big tyre blowout for Maxime Soulet in the 18 Bentley, resulting in the car going way, way off at the Boost Mobile chase. There, a second spin for the Porsche. Thankfully, on this occasion, that car wasn't collected. Overheating for the 58 YNA Autosport. McLaren, BMW from the GT4 class clonking the wall after possible contact with the number 12 GT3 Porsche. And that was Morgan Haber getting big air at the top of Skyline with the 67 car catching the end of the gravel trap. The other car, Gen 2 Mark machine, catching fire, no less, close to the Liqui-Moly bridge. Porsche makes contact with Ginetta, a big hit for Will Tregurtha, and a big penalty for the Porsche, judged to be at fault in that incident. And this was Kelvin van der Linde asking a little too much of his Pirelli tyres at the Shannon's Dipper, going around the outside of a Mark car and hitting the wall very hard indeed. A big fine for Chaz Mostert, judged to be at fault for this incident, which involved 3 cars, and very nearly Kevin Estre in the 991 Porsche as well. He just managed to sneak through, and the driver of the Porsche badly affected by that as well. Okay, now though, the onboard sight, and slowing for Markus Winkelhock, the race leader at the time. And this a huge incident as John Martin comes piling round the corner in the 19 Mercedes, smashing into the side of Ash Walsh, who's sitting there bracing for impact. That was huge and resulted in an unprecedented red flag to bring the 2018 running of the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour to an early finish. The cars parked up on the main straight under parc fermé conditions, and then with about 5 minutes to go, there's that hit again, sickening. It doesn't get any easier to watch that. 5 minutes to go on the clock. The result is declared. I make that the very first Belgian flagged team to win this race. Also first British winner overall. And first Dutchman as well, with Stuart Leonard and Robin Freins, respectively. Congratulations to Dries Vanthoor, too, younger brother of Lawrence.
270 laps completed, 271 laps completed, 1,683 Ks. That's how the top 10 stands. 7 cars finishing on the lead lap is a record for this race. The previous best was 5 on 2 occasions. Audi, Mercedes, AMG and Porsche represented on the podium. And check out the Porsches stacking 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th places. Over the page, some interesting stories to tell for these cars. What could have been, for a whole lot of them, as is often the case here at Mount Panorama, Class B taken out by the Grove Group Porsche, so that's the 3rd victory for them. Invitational class goes to Mark Cars Australia. What a remarkable day at Mount Panorama. Another day of records, another day of incredible motor racing, and a long, long list of non-finishers from the 50 starters that greeted the green flag at 5:45 a.m. this morning. An incredible day on the mountain. The Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour delivers once again. Let's go to the podium.
Well, it's time for the podium here, and once again, Bathurst has delivered plenty of surprises. Let's hand out some trophies here at the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour. Time to introduce our outright podium, and in 3rd place, please make plenty of noise for the Black Swan team, Tim Pappas, Jeroen Bleekemolen, Lucas Stoltz and Mark Lieb. Congratulations also to this team for placing 1st in the BRM Watches Pro-Am class. 2nd place today goes to Kenny Habul, Tristan Vautier, Jamie Whincup and Rafael Marcello. Just waiting on the boys from AMG to step up onto the podium. Congratulations on 2nd place, including Jamie Whincup, backing up last year's incredible race win. Time now to introduce our winning team from Team WRT out of Belgium. Robin Freins, Stuart Leonard and Dries Vanthoor, your winners of the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour. Time to hand out our BRM Watches Pro-Am Cup. And I'd like to welcome onto the stage right now Claudio Feitsitzer from BRM Watches for our winning team, the Black Swan Racing team from the USA. The drivers will be taking home these state-of-the-art, specially designed 12-hour watches from BRM Chronographs. These watches are suspended on 3 shock absorbers. And the perfect prize for any race car driver, particularly our BRM Pro-Am drivers. We also have our third place trophy coming from Ernesto Garcia, the Motorsport Business Director from Pirelli. Handing out today's second place trophies will be Graham Hanger, the Mayor of Bathurst. And now a special trophy to our winners, to be presented by Graham Emerton, our CAMS Director. Ladies and gentlemen, the CAMS Tourist Trophy to our 12-hour winners. I'd like to welcome now the Managing Director of Liqui-Moly Australia, Bruce Morrison, to present our winners' trophies. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour podium. Please put your hands together.
Well, John Hindhoff with me just to try and wrap up what we've seen here today. Remarkable, really, wasn't it? I mean, you see these races right around the world. Have you ever seen anything like what we saw today?
I don't see that every day, Mark. I mean, extraordinary. We came here expecting history to be made with a distance record. Yeah. What we got was history with more cars on the lead lap at the end of the race than ever before, and an extraordinary amount of entertainment. Incident, accident. Good news is all the drivers got out of it okay. I mean, what does this race keep throwing up? I've got no clue what's going to happen next year.
The important thing too we need to mention is all the drivers involved in the accident up top are all okay. They've all been declared okay. They've been medically checked, so that's very important to us. But John, I don't know where we go from here. I mean, this race today, it was entertaining, as you say, all the way through. It was completely unpredictable.
Yes, it was, and that is the nature of endurance racing. Audi have been at this for a very, very long time, and today they pulled it out of the bag again. WRT are a very good team, and it showed. Would they have got to the end without the incident? Nah, not a chance. But you've got to be there. They put themselves in position. The cards felt their way. There you go. Chris Renke from Audi Sport Customer Racing, very happy guy. And the WRT guys delighted. Two brothers on the podium in two different cars. Lots of storylines. Everybody happy.
It's hard as after 12 hours of racing, you've got so much going on in your mind and so many highlights and so many moments that we'll come back to over the next few days. But was there something that stood out for you, just a moment that you thought that's the moment of the race? That was brilliant.
Oh, there was too many of them. Honestly, there was. It's extraordinary. Whoever has to cut the highlights together, I feel for them.
Good luck.
I feel for Porsche as well. They played the strategy perfectly well right through the week. They didn't get the cards at the end.
What is it about this place, do you think, that keeps producing those incredible finishes like we've seen today?
Because it means so much to people. Nobody was playing conservatively at the end. All the guys who were short on fuel, they weren't thinking championship. They were thinking top step of that podium up there. And that's what makes Bathurst and the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours so important and so brilliant.
And John, I love during the day, you're getting feedback from drivers who aren't here saying, hey, 2019, I am going to be in February in Bathurst, Australia.
And manufacturers as well. There's a couple of manufacturers that weren't here that are now rueing not being here. Expect some announcements when we get into the back end of the year, because I think we're going to see an even bigger spread and variety of manufacturers in the A-class with the GT3 machinery.
That's very big news. Just to clarify, just hearing from the medical centre that the drivers are actually in the medical centre. They are being checked at the moment, so we'll keep you updated on that. That was a very nasty crash up the top.
It was, but it's testament to the safety standards of the global Formula GT3 cars that it all worked out for the best. 200k hits like that doesn't happen every day. You can't crash test a car for that, and yet, all the guys got out pretty much under their own steam.
Yeah, quite remarkable, isn't it? The carnage up there, of course, couldn't be cleared, and as we are hoping and waiting to find out for sure that the drivers will be okay, but as you say, that is a real testament to the safety features.
Yes, and a good call by race control, who I thought were on point all day. They gave everybody the opportunity to get back in the race. When they had to call a safety car, they did, and any of the penalties they called, we've looked at them long and hard. They were pretty fair as well. Good job by everybody concerned.
Yep, and just finally on that, precautionary checks happening in the medical centre, so it's good news for the drivers. Hey, we have had a fantastic time up here. Hope you've enjoyed it. John, great to have you back. Can you come back next year?
I'm going to get my tickets booked before I leave, man. This is fantastic. You think I'm going to miss this?
I don't know how we'll keep you away. It's been fantastic to all our team. A great effort. It's been a brilliant one. Thanks very much. We'll see you next year for the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hour.
And everything's alright.
podium procedure.
Podiums then just around the corner for the other classes here at Bathurst, and the 2018 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours. Still trying to catch our breath here in the commentary box. Johnny Palmer soon to be joined by John Hindhoff to run you through on the live stream the final few podiums, as Richard Crail, who's done a stellar job all the way through the race. He's not been in rude health, I think it's fair to say, just popping into the other room to oversee the press conference. But we're about to call onto the podium some of the other classes. Obviously, it got very, very busy in those. 2 pro cars taking the overall positions, followed by the 540 Black Swan car, with Mark Lee bringing that home. And the Porsches are well placed, some of those being the Pro-Am cars actually, on fuel mileage to be able to take overall wins. So a penny for their thoughts right now as the race panned out the way it did. Clearly that clear-up operation at the top of the hill is going to take quite some time now, but the word is that the drivers are okay. They've been taken to the medical centre purely for precautionary reasons. And we'll get you any news via the Twitter feed, Bathurst 12 Hour, just as soon as we know any more. What a race, and we were certain at the start of the weekend that it might be one of those distance record breakers. In the end, so much caution period in the opening, well, 8 hours really, put paid to that, and we almost had a record as a short distance. We've got a precedent broken, certainly as far as the race, the way it finished is concerned, to have all the cars pretty much nose to tail on the main straight, whilst those cars were in parc fermé conditions. And the word was eventually given by James Taylor and his team to red flag the race and call that as a result. But that's never happened before here in the long history of the Bathurst 12 hours. Trophies ready then, and these are for the lower order classes, branded with Porsche. So these are the Porsche Cup trophies, I'd say. The win going to the number 4 car, driven by Ben Barker to the finish, and a great drive also from Brenton Grove and Stephen Grove, along with Dan Gaunt as well, brought in to the fold partway through the race when Brenton Grove was very, very ill indeed during the race and felt he couldn't go any further. He broke away from driving duties, went into the truck at the back of the paddock to get some sleep, got a little bit of food on board as well, and felt better, so got back in the car. Great result for those guys. And here is the podium with Chad Neyland.
Thank you, Johnny. Time to get into our Porsche Class B podium, and we'll start with 3rd place today, which goes to our JFC Carter Garage team of Daniel Studdard, Sam Fillimore and Andrew Fawcett. 2nd place today goes to Wall Racing, and it's Charles Putman, Charles Espelada and Joe Foster. And your 1st place team, once again, it's Grove Motorsport doing it for Team Australia. Stephen Grove, his son Brenton Grove, Benny Barker, and the super sub, Daniel Gorn. Time to hand out our trophies once again to our Porsche Class B podium. And gee, this class really to and fro today, just like Johnny was saying earlier. Numerous teams handed penalties, some extended penalties at times. The Mayor of Bathurst heading out once again to hand out our trophies today. And Bruce Morrison from Liqui-Moly. And our thanks once again to Liqui-Moly for their ongoing support. We're looking forward to having a good decade of support from Liqui-Moly as the naming rights sponsor of the Bathurst 12 Hour. Congratulations to our teams in Porsche Class B. And once again to Groves Motorsport. Well done on taking the win in Porsche Class B today at Bathurst.
Big smiles all around for the presentation for the Porsche Class B division. And those guys driving the number 4 car, very, very happy indeed. I have to say that win in that class looked pretty unlikely for the Grove car and for Ben Barker, but they get out of trouble after some early errors from Stephen Grove. That double spin sticks in the mind, heading into Maguire's and then turning around as well at Porsche corner, but they collected their thoughts. They got Brenton Grove back in the car, amazingly, and Ben Barker brought it to the finish. Next up should be the Boost Mobile Class C division for GT4 cars. And this was a stellar lineup of, well, cracking names, really. A win in the end for the Boatworks Racing number 30 BMW M4 GT4. Tony Longhurst, as he admitted to us live on air in his final race around the mountain. Bear in mind, he was the winner of the Bathurst 1000 Ks in 1988 in a Ford Sierra RS 500. And those late 80s days around the mountain here were ones to savour. And Tony Longhurst realising now that the young men that he was sharing that car with maybe just a little bit quicker than him these days, but you cannot erase the history that Tony's built up in something like 30 years of racing around Mount Panorama, joined by Aaron Seaton, son of Glenn, and Matthew Brabham as well. Matty Brabham, son of Jeff. So continuing some great names in that car. We look forward to seeing perhaps who those two young men will share cars with in the future. Further down in Class C, the 77 Ginetta from Yorkshire in the UK kept out of trouble towards the end and came home with a second place finish. Mike Simpson bringing that car to the flag. And Ginettas have had a troubled few days, actually. The 88 car didn't make it to the finish after a big crash for Will Tregurtha in the 88 car that he was sharing with Jay Robson and Ben Walsh. It'll be Mike Simpson together with teammates Colby Cowham and Lindsay Kearns to take to the second step of the podium, and finishing in third place in the end. A car that ran for the majority of the race in second position rather, the M Motorsport car, just slipping back to third by the end of the race. So here is the podium then for the Boost Mobile Class C GT4 division with Chad.
Well, Johnny, Bathurst full of surprises as ever, so we'll get into BRM Watchers Pro-Am instead while the drivers are in the chute right now. And in third place, it's Stracker Racing with Nick Leventes, Lewis Williamson, Cam Waters and David Fuminelli. Congratulations to the 4 drivers from Mercedes, and a huge effort from Stracker Racing to bring this effort and this team all the way to Australia. Second place, Competition Motorsports. It's David Calvert-Jones, Patrick Long, Matt Campbell and Alex Davison. Well done to the Icebreak team once again on getting up onto the podium. First place, we've seen him on the outright podium. Let's get him back out in BRM Watchers Pro-Am for Black Swan Racing. Tim Pappas, Jeroen Blickmolen, Lucas Doles and Mark Lieb. Pirelli heading out once again to hand out our third place trophy. Our thanks to the Bathurst Council for their ongoing support of all motorsport here in Bathurst as the Mayor comes out to hand out our runners-up trophies. The drivers have already accepted their BRM watches for winning BRM Pro-Am class, courtesy of Claudio Feisitzer. And now they'll take their winners' trophies from Bruce Morrison. I present to you your BRM Watches Pro-Am podium.
Best laid plans, eh? Nicely covered, Chad. Thank you for that. So that means we're still to look forward to the Boost Mobile Class C division. This, the BRM Watchers Class A Pro-Am category then, and the 540 car sneaking onto the top 3 overall too. So a really good result that for the Black Swan Racing crew from the United States. And just about enough room on that top step of the podium to fit 4 drivers. Huge crowd still beneath the Bathurst podium. I'm delighted to see that plenty of the spectators here at Bathurst sticking around to congratulate everybody in their individual classes. So drivers making their way now off the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour podium, and there are more trophies now to be brought forward. I'll wait and see who we're going to get next, but through a process of elimination, it's either going to be the Racer Industries Class I category, the Shannon's Class A amateur class, which changed rather significantly at the end, because remember, it was the 69 car that was leading that class into the final stages. But the 69 machine hugely involved in that incident at the top of the mountain. Waiting to hear confirmation for that car, presumably to be eliminated from the results for being the cause of the red flag, and therefore there'll be a change around in the leaders of the AM division. So here come the trophies. I'll be a little more patient this time, deciding which category this is for. So 3 trophies for second place. And perfect. This is for the amateur category, the Shannon's Class A amateur category. And who will be on the top step and the second step of the podium? I'm thinking the 69 car has been taken out of the result, despite Ash Walsh leading that category at the time of the red flag. So it is, everything's shuffled around a little bit, and that means that Wall Racing in the Lamborghini Gallardo has taken victory. Richard Gartner, David Wall, John Bow, with so much history around this place, and Hadrian Morrill. And this is the team that changed chassis through the weekend after issues with the Lamborghini Gallardo LP 560. They reverted to the newer car following an engine failure during Saturday practice. So replacing their slightly older car with the Lamborghini Gallardo RX. Still not the latest GT3 Lambo, but it did tremendously well to come home in the lead. Here's Chad with the latest podium.
Well done, Johnny. Left that one nice and open for the Shannon's amateur podium right now. And there has been some late race drama, you might say, here, and a little bit of a change with the safety stop team of Richard Gardner, Hadrian Morrill, David Wall and John Bow placing in second today. Would you please put your hands together for our second place drivers? John Bow certainly knows how to find the Bathurst podium. Done it plenty of times here. And our winners today, put your hands together for Audi Sport Customer Racing: James Konduras, Theo Konduras, Devarshan Padiachi and Ash Walsh. Our thoughts with Ash Walsh right now, and we hope that everyone involved in that accident up on top of the mountain is okay. So just the 2 teams up on the podium for our Shannon's amateur class results today. Congratulations to the safety stop team and to Audi Sport Customer Racing. Thank you once again to our trophy presenters. AM-Class Racing, so strong as always, and a huge effort actually, considering the safety stop team had a change of car just last night. Had to start off the back of the grid. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. That is your Shannon's amateur class podium.
And that's Chad Nayland seeing things at the podium there, overseeing the presentations and the round of applause from down below. 2 more podiums to go then here at the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour, and we'll wait to see which trophies appear next, either for the Boost Mobile Class C GT4 division or for the Racer Industries Class I, which is the invitational class. The podium set. Let's go back to Chad for the Boost Mobile Class C.
Right you are, Johnny, and let's get straight into that right now. And our third place team is from KTM M Motorsport, consisting of Glenwood, Trent Harrison and Cody Hill. Would you please put your hands together for our third place team from KTM? Second place, it's the Ginetta Australia crew of Mike Simpson, Colby Callum and Lindsay Kearns. And your winners from Boatworks Racing. What a story this is. It's Aaron Seaton, Matty Brabham and Tony Longhurst. Thank you to Pirelli for their ongoing support of the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour, the official tyre of the 12-hour, and those Pirelli tyres getting the teams home today in Boost Mobile Class C. Thank you to our mayor once again with our runners-up trophies and all the ongoing support from the Bathurst Council, who do such an amazing job maintaining this venue to such a high standard. And Bruce Morrison, last out to hand out the winning trophies, and this must be a special one for Tony Longhurst. Will he indeed go out on a high today? Congratulations to he and Matt Brabham in his first time here, as well as Aaron Seaton clocking up the wins, the third-generation Seaton driver here at Bathurst. Congratulations to our Boost Mobile Class C GT4 podium.
Still a cracking atmosphere just below the Bathurst podium. Big grin on Tony Longhurst's face, which is great to see. And he was lapping up, I'm sure, that final stint. So many memories around this place, including 2 victories in the great race, the Bathurst 1000. Is this just the start of the stories for Matty Brabham and for Aaron Seaton in their BMW? And possibly, are we going to see those two in something slightly more powerful in years to come here in the Bathurst 12-hour? One final round of applause then for those guys. That boat works racing. And there's one more to go for the Racer Industries Class I, the invitational class. Remember, this is principally for silhouette-type cars. Mark Cars Australia coming here with a total of 7 machines, some of which are the slightly older Mark Cars, the Gen 1 machines, effectively, either in their Focus or Mazda V8 shapes. The brand new cars sound and look superb. They weren't treated particularly well through the course of the race, and generally speaking through no fault of the drivers, but a big fire for the 54 car and Paul Morris, and also leaping into the air briefly was the 67 car of Morgan Haber, the bright green Gen 2 Mark machine at the top of the hill. But it's the 91 from a man who continues to be an inspiration for so many people, Keith Kasulke, sharing that car with Rod Salmon and Will Brown. We'll be welcoming those guys to the top step of the podium in a moment or two. The rest of the class was almost a game of survival, with issues for each of the Daytona sports car entries, particularly the Daytona sports car machine itself. So, with the podium dressed and ready, here's Chad Nayland with the final presentation.
Thank you, Johnny. Racer Industries Invitational class is how we round out today's proceedings. And in third place for Mark Cars Australia, give it up for Grant Denyer, Tyler Everingham, and Gary Jacobson. Second place today from Eastgate Engineering will be Jason Busk, Jeff Taunton, and Bryce Forward. Great to see that Bryce is okay after that dust up on top of the mountain as well. Mark Cars Australia will take another win today in Race Industries Invitational class. It's Keith Kasulke, Rod Salmon, and Will Brown. Final round of trophies to hand out. Thank you very much once again to Pirelli for all their support here this weekend. Congratulations to everyone standing on the very, very competitive Class I podium, and thanks to Racer Industries for their ongoing support. Congratulations to Ryan McLeod on the new Mark II cars. What a success they will be moving on into the future. Thank you once again to Liqui-Moly, our trusted sponsor and naming rights sponsor today. We look forward to hopefully many more years together as we go racing for 12 hours around the mountain. It's such an event that we look forward to all summer long, and once again it delivers. And down in Race Industries Invitational class, the racing is so, so strong. And again, we see Keith Kasulke, Rod Salmon, and Will Brown from Mark Cars Australia climb to the top. Congratulations to all the drivers who've been on the podium today. That is a hard-earned trophy after 12 hours.
Thank you, Chad, for overseeing all the podiums then at the end of a momentous Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours. It's a third victory for Audi and their R8 after winning in 2011 and 2012. They get another one in 2018, but what a bizarre race. So many cautions and a big crash at the end. Thankfully, everyone is okay after that. But the race red flagged, and we very nearly got to the shortest distance ever. Congratulations to Team WRT, to Robin Fryers, to Stuart Leonard and to Dries Vanthoor. From Richard Crail, from John Hindhoff and me, Johnny Palmer, in the main commentary box. Don't forget to join us in 12 months' time for another edition of this fantastic race. Bye-bye for now.